Hi there, hope you're all keeping well. Welcome along to another edition of the England Golf Podcast with me, Ian McFarlane. We've got 4 guests for you in this month's pod, each with their own tale to tell from the world of club and amateur golf. Jess Baker was struggling with self-doubt at the start of the year, but ended 2022 with confidence and belief in her talents fully restored. The Newcastle golfer reflects on a crazy week in June that saw her crowned Women's Amateur Champion, playing the majors with her idols, and details what lies ahead for her in 23 as a newly called up member of the England women's squad. Now, if you love golf content on Instagram, you're bound to have come across our second guests, father and son golfers Andy and Riley Banks from Wiltshire. With more than 30,000 followers, the ups and downs of the Banks' golfing adventures have got many people hooked. They tell us why golf means so much to them and why family golf club memberships are about much more than simply playing the game. Our final guest is Jack Lee, winner of the 2022 McEvoy Trophy and a new face in the England boys squad for next season. To find out why he might be brushing up on his Japanese, stay tuned. We'll also have a news roundup and those vital details on how you can nominate an individual club or county for an England Golf Award. First though, let's hear from Jess Baker. The proud Geordie has had a year to remember. By winning the Women's Amateur Championship at Hunstanton in the summer, Jess has opened doors previously bolted shut to a player that began that week on the Norfolk coast outside the world's top 500. Now, well, the world's her oyster. I caught up with Jess recently as the fall season ended in America and she took her break from her studies at the University of Central Florida. She discussed her year, playing for England, and becoming something of a style icon by wearing shades on the course. Jess Baker, welcome to the England Golf Podcast. Thanks very much for joining us from sunny Florida. Let's not talk too much about the weather just now, but what I do want to talk to you about is the fact that you've just been called up to the England women's squad for 2023, and that kind of caps off an amazing 2022 in which you became the women's amateur champion. Let's cut to the chase. Tell us about the fact that you're the women's amateur champion.
Yeah, honestly, an incredible summer. Nothing I expected at all. It's definitely a very nice surprise, but yeah, no, it was honestly such an incredible experience, and just to be involved in that event and then everything that preceded after it as well. It's just life experiences and so many lessons learned and amazing experiences I've had with my family and just being able to be a golfer in the environments that everybody dreams of being in is just an incredible feeling. So yeah, no, it really was quite the summer. And as I say, it was just a whole load of craziness going on, but obviously trying to enjoy every single second of it as well.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'm sure you won't mind us drifting back to Hunstanton to recall the events of that
I'd
week.
I'd love to.
Now, it was an amazing week, but if I'm looking back at the records correctly, it was slightly iffy getting through to the match play stages. You had to hole a bit of a monster putt, didn't you, at the last, just to make sure you were safely through to the match play?
I did. So it was 2 rounds of stroke play, and I was 3 over on my first round, which I think was about the cut line or just missing the cut. And so I knew I had to shoot under par the next day. And yeah, it came down to the 18th. I'd hit it in the bunker on my second shot. I had this horrendous bunker shot. So I got it out, and then I holed I think it was a 25-footer down the hill, little left to right, went in at full pace, I'll tell you that. But yeah, that's what secured it, and without that I'd never be in the position I'm in. So yeah.
These things are written in the stars though, Jess. When you hole a putt like that, you think, well, maybe it's going to be my week.
Yeah, no, because I was honestly carrying good vibes from the last year's tournament. I made it to the quarterfinals. I lost out to Louise, obviously, who won. And so yeah, I was just sort of going with the flow with it. Had very little expectations, to be honest. And the goal was always for the first bit was just to make the cut, make the match play. And I knew I was a strong match play player, and if I could get there, then I knew I had at least a chance. And I definitely backed myself on that. So that was definitely the goal, was just to sort of be in that position in the first place. And then, yeah, as they just kept coming, I just kept sticking to what I was doing, and it was working. So yeah, it was just sort of going with the flow, taking each shot at a time, each day at a time. Obviously long days with some 36-hole rounds in there as well. So it's just a case of being super like mentally tight and just going with it, like just really not trying to care too much. And yeah, I think that was a good consequence of it all.
Yeah, sure. You seem to get on a bit of a roll, but even right up to the semi-finals when you were facing Hannah Darling, you know, people weren't talking about Jess Baker becoming the champion because you were probably the underdog in just about every match you faced, including that semi against Hannah, who, as we all know, is a fantastic golfer. But was there just something special about that week that it all clicked into place for you and you were able to take your game to that next level?
Yeah, I think it was, as I say, it was a lot to do with the expectation. And I think the environment that my dad and I had on the course was a huge factor as well. And I've always felt comfortable with him caddying for me, and we've had experience in the past where it's gone well. And that was always going to be the case for this week, is he was going to be on the bag. And yeah, I don't know, it just didn't feel stressed. And that was a funny thing, because everybody sort of told me I looked so calm, sort of in the final and on the telly and stuff. And I suppose I wanted to have that demeanour, and it's obviously, as all golfers know, it's not like that in your head. So keeping that was definitely a factor of it. But yeah, just to be contending for those positions as the underdog, I think was a really good place for me to be in. I love to sort of chase the titles. I don't really like to hold on to them. So, so yeah, no, especially in the match play format as well, it was just a case of just like seeing what I could do, and there was nothing to be lost if I didn't do it.
You came across as very cool that week, as you say on TV. You came across, your personality really shone through. You looked cool. You had the shades on, of course, for the week as well, which became a bit of a feature. But is that something you always play with the shades on? This is quite a fashion statement.
I know. I've done it before. When we used to train out in Portugal, I used to have the glasses on. And then the funny story was, I'd actually forgotten my hat that week, so I always wear a visor. And I'd forgotten my visor when I got there, so I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Sun was shining, and I was like, oh well, sunglasses are the only best option. So yeah, that's how it came about. And yeah, I got a little bit of a fashion statement going on for me now. But I'll take it. I enjoy wearing it. Just keep it cool, calm and collected.
Exactly, and there's a potential sponsorship deal somewhere down the line with one of the big brands that we can't mention at the moment. So you know, keep going with that.
That would be cool.
In terms of the final against Louise Rydquist from Sweden, by the time you got to the final, were you thinking, right, this is mine, I'm not giving it up now?
Yeah, I think I wanted to make sure I didn't lose sight of the mindset that I had going through the whole week. I didn't want to get to the final and be like, oh, now I have to win it, because I know I can win it. Like, I'm sure Louise was thinking the same. Like, we were both great players, and everybody in that field was. And it was just a case of, like, I didn't want to overcomplicate things. And I really just stuck to what I was doing. I made sure that I was, like, focused, obviously, and concentrating on my task. But at the same time, to be in a British Amateur final is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for some people. And it's like, I didn't want to lose sight of that as well. So I didn't want to take it too seriously. But at the same time, you know, there's still that drive that you will play for, and the reason that we get up so early every morning and practice and do all the hard graft is for moments like those. So yeah, it was just a mix of nerves and excitement, but, you know, really having to concentrate on what you're doing, but enjoying it all at the same time. So yeah, it wasn't so much as I was like dying for the win or anything. I was just doing what I was doing, and it worked.
Now, you mentioned your star caddy early on there. Your mum was obviously watching from the sidelines with a family dog as well along for a bit of moral support. But talk us through Dad Steve's role in all of this. I did read a quote earlier in the year from you, Jess. I don't know how accurate it is, where you say, Dad does get on my nerves at times, but he's doing it for all the right reasons.
Oh God, that does sound like something I would say.
When you say he gets on your nerves, I presume he's trying to tell you the right thing to do, and he's maybe just overstressing this.
Yes, no, I mean, for both of us, it was new territory, so we were both just kind of like not really knowing how to navigate the waters, kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think I could be where I am without having his support and help throughout that whole week, and the same with my mum as well, and even the dog being there. It was just such a nice environment for the whole time. And yeah, I think honestly just having that support with me meant a lot, and knowing that whatever happened I was still going to be loved and supported either way was a nice feeling. And yeah, honestly just him as a caddy, we just worked so well together, and it wasn't as if, you know, he's got insane caddy knowledge on the course or anything. It was more he was so good at managing my emotions, and I bounced off that as well, and we both had a few fist pumps in there, and it was just like, just go with it. And I saw him more as my dad there rather than a caddy, which I think was an important thing as well. And yeah, it was just a case of just go for it. And I knew that the environment I was in was a nice one, and I didn't really have to care too much about what he thought of me because he's my dad. So yeah, no, it was a lovely environment to be in.
Yeah. Some people I speak to who win big events don't remember that much about it because because of the nerves and the stress, and your focus is all on the golf. Were you able to kind of soak it in, and can you remember it vividly now, 6 months on, talking about it? Is it all still really fresh in your memory?
Yeah, there's parts of it that certainly stick out. The semi-final and the quarter-final day in particular, I think, was some of the best golf I've ever played. And those two matches obviously got me to where I am now. So yeah, there were certain parts of those matches where I hold some good putts and things like that. But I'm actually cautious of watching it back on the YouTube stream because I'm just I don't want to ruin that memory I've got of it. And it's weird because I watched the last hole, and even that little chip I had, I can remember it from my own eyes, but then I'm like, oh, was it really like that? I don't remember it being like that. So yeah, I'm staying away from it for now, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be really great to look back on that in the future and experience it all again. But yeah, no, certainly some points of it are definitely very memorable.
It's good to know that YouTube video is there, that you can turn to it at any time you want. It's going to be there for posterity.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a big old trophy as well, isn't it? Quite heavy for all those photographs that you've got to stand very about heavy for an hour or so and pose for.
Yeah, they whisked me off in a golf buggy after I won, and I was straight into the media and the interviews and everything. And on the live stream, there's a part of where I had to hold it for a good 45 seconds, and you can literally see my arms shaking. It's so heavy. So at least I got that bit out of the way, and I managed to not drop it, which is the main thing going on in my head. But yeah.
As well as the trophy and the memories, Jess, you obviously get a passport to some bigger events, some professional events that followed quite quickly after that. How did you kind of deal with that whirlwind of activity? Because very quickly you're into a couple of majors, and suddenly that's a whole different stratosphere, isn't it?
It was completely, yeah. And I think the Avion was 2 or 3 weeks after I'd won. So my dad was straight on the case with organising it, and got some advice from Emily Toy and Louise Duncan, and I just sort of messaged them. I was like, how do I go about this? So it was really great to have their advice as well. Obviously been through it before. So yeah, no, it was pretty hectic, and it was from one big moment to another, and soaking the win plus soaking in I'm playing in a major, I'm playing with all these professionals and never been in this environment before. So yeah, it was very much all new, and it was definitely took some time to sort of be like, okay, this actually happened to me. And I'm still going through it now. I'm still like, wow, I can't believe that actually happened. And it is a bit of a pinch yourself moment. So yeah, no, it was pretty much a whirlwind, as you said. And but they were life experiences. To be able to say I've played in a major, any major, I don't care. It's such an amazing thing to be able to say. So yeah, I'm honestly just so grateful for the opportunities I've had from it.
What did you enjoy most? The first major, which was the Evian, or was the AIG Women's Open a bit special because of the history that goes with it? And you're playing at Muirfield, of course, you would have seen many times when the regular Open Championships been played there.
Yeah, they were both special in different ways, I think. They both had very different vibes and feels. But I have to say, the AIG Women's Open was just something incredible. To be able to have won the amateur version of that and then play in that myself was just oh my gosh, can't believe I'm here. But yeah, and to play with the group I had as well, I played with Dame Laura Davies and Lynn Grant, and two idols kind of. I mean, I don't really idolize anybody, but if it was going to be two people, it would be those two. I absolutely love Lynn Grant's swing. So just to be able to meet her, and obviously Dame Laura Davies with the incredible career she's had. It was just an incredible three ball. So yeah, no, it was a whole mix of lots of emotions, and yeah, just soaking it all in. And it's difficult as well because my coach came up to Muirfield from Newcastle to give me some help in the practice round, and we were sort of talking about it, and it was like, this is such a cool experience, but I have to go and play tomorrow. It's like, it's not just going and playing in your monthly medal. It's like, I'm playing in the Open. So there's an element of like wanting to do well, and you want to enjoy the experience. You want to soak up everything that's going on, but you got to concentrate on what you're doing. And at the end of the day, your name's going to be on a scoreboard somewhere. So yeah, it was a lot to manage, to be honest. It was a lot of figuring out how to go about dealing with stuff, and yeah, I mean, honestly, just to have the experience in the first place was amazing, and I'm sure the experiences at the Avion as well will contribute to Augusta and to the US Open. So it's all just life experiences and learning so much on the way.
We're going to ask you that. What did you specifically learn, either about your game or about yourself in those two championships, whether it be something technical to do with the golf swing or whether it's to do with your attitude or managing expectations or preparations? What is it that you can say at the moment that you would take away from those two experiences?
Yeah, I think the first thing, honestly, that sprung to mind was that I'm really not far away, which is a nice one, because it's difficult when you've never been in that arena before to suddenly be thrown into it, and you're like, well, I don't know how these girls do it, but I know they're the best in the world, so where's the gap almost? And yeah, I mean, they're just so tidy is the way to say it. There's hardly any unforced errors, and it's just so pleasant to watch because it's so not stressful. But obviously for them, I'm sure they're feeling all the emotions I had. But yeah, it's just so like bullet straight and incredible short game and really clutch putting, and it's all combined in one over a consistent period of time. So that was really the main thing, was just, I'm there, but I just got to get more consistent, and I've just got to learn. And it's like experiencing those things, and the experience I'll have next year as well will all contribute to that. And it's just takes time as well. Obviously been thrown into it from the deep end almost. But yeah, no, it was just a case of like being able to see how they go about it, and even stuff with preparation and how they train in the gym, how they stretch, how long they have to be there before the tournament starts, and we figured that out as we went along as well. But yeah, it's just all part of being on the tour life, and it was interesting to see it from that perspective.
Describe that moment for me, if you can, Jess, when you're 10 minutes from your tee-off time at the Women's Open, and you've done your preparation, and it's the point of no return, and there's not much you can do, and you've probably arrived at the first tee or just behind the first tee a little early because you're anxious and you're hanging about. So what's it like when your name gets announced and you walk out onto that first tee?
Yeah, I remember it really vividly. We were sort of hanging around. We'd come off the putting green in the range and hanging around the first tee box, and you have to walk through the tunnel to get to the first tee. And I'm honestly so grateful. So I live about an hour and a half from Muirfield in Newcastle, and the amount of Northumberland supporters that came up was amazing. Honestly, they filled the stands on the first tee. And red's our colour, so it was like a red army up there, and we got called onto the tee, and high fives and whoops and everything, and I think we ended up getting a bigger cheer than Laura Davies did, so that was a nice feeling. But yeah, no, just as I say, it was all of those excited and nervous emotions all at once, but just to be arrive with that crowd was incredible. And
the first tee shot was okay?
It went down the middle, yes, hit the fairway.
As if there was any doubt it would go down the middle, Jess, as if there was any doubt. Another thing that I read again, and I hope this is accurate, because I'd quite like to explore this side of it with you. We all know that golf has ups and downs and people have highs and lows, but it wasn't that long ago that you were perhaps a little bit down about your game and wondering even if, what is the point of this? Should I continue to pursue this dream that I've had since I was a little girl of becoming a professional golfer? Is that accurate? And if so, what were the doubts in your head, and how did you manage to dispel them?
Yeah, so I went in the June, and then February, March time, I was really struggling out in the States. Wasn't really making my college team, and just like had a lot of self-doubt and self-confidence issues. And as you say, it was just like I go in, day out, and I wake up early and I do all of this, and it's like, it's all for nothing. But to be on the other side of that, I wouldn't change a thing that happened, because although it was really difficult and it was a hard time to go through, had I not been through that, I certainly wouldn't have been in the position I am today. So I really believe that everything happens for a reason. And yeah, although it is hard, it's like you learn those lessons. I've learned to be so resilient, even since coming to America. It's not easy all the time, and it's painted out that way, but it's definitely got some challenges to it. And as I say, like, having been through that experience, I would never be able to achieve what I have. So yeah, no, it's really lovely to be on the other side of it, and it gives me more almost like hope for the next time it comes, because there are going to be more dips. And yeah, and that's the way sport goes and golf goes. So just knowing that I know I've proved to myself that I can get through that, and I've come out on the other side, then it just makes the next one much easier. So yeah, it's just a case of just keep on going, and just, you know, that it's going to pay off at some point.
Because people must think that, you know, for somebody like yourself who's been a talented golfer from a very early age, been in England girls squads, you know, got a decent, not a decent, an excellent college place in America, and it all just flows naturally. But from what you're saying, you really have to fight for everything that you get in the game, and that was something that you've learned over the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think certainly from what you see on social media and stuff like that, and what things get painted out to be, is certainly not what they actually are. So I'm always cautious of that whenever something like this happens. But yeah, no, it's just, I think golf's one of those sports where it can be there one day and it can't be there the next, and it can be the most frustrating thing in the world. But you just know that it's all going to be worth it, and it's like, sometimes you just got to do what you really don't want to do, and you got to show up and you got to do it, and know that it's going to be for something, and that's what really drives you through those hard times. So yeah, I think it's just like you go through all those experiences I've had, and even if they weren't good, if they were good, you learn from it, you move on to the next, and it's like I'm just a constant snowball of knowledge and I'm still growing. So it's never ending almost, you know. You're trying so hard to perfect the game that can't be perfected.
Yeah, we've all been there to a lesser or greater degree. As amateur hackers have that same feeling. You just have it on a different level to everybody else, Jess. Now, 2022 is obviously, or has been, very special, but 2023 is shaping up to be something special as well. You've been, as I mentioned earlier, called up to the women's squad, which is great from our point of view, that you're back in the fold, and looking forward to that. Does it still mean quite a lot to you to represent your country? You've obviously done it in the past with the girls squad. Is it something you're looking forward to in 23?
Absolutely it is, yeah. I think it's any honour to be representing your country at any level. But, you know, as part of the women's squad, you know, it's sort of more of a full cap, and it's the real deal almost. So I'm thrilled to be in the position I'm in, and yeah, just to get going with it again. It's been a couple of years since I've been involved in it, so it's nice sort of be in this position, and I've developed and learnt so much as a golfer that I'm excited to sort of bring to the coaches, and yeah, it just seems really exciting to see what's ahead, and just keep it going.
And explain to me this Northeast Mafia that seems to be developing. Rosie Belsham, who you were in the girls' squad with, and now Rachel Gurley's come through, and she's in the women's squad as well. What is it about the Northeast?
Yeah, we've got something in the water up here. I don't know what it is. I think we've got such a great development area. You know, the North of England regional squad I know was big for Rosie and I, and yeah, honestly, just the people up there are so supportive. The county, I know, have supported all three of us through our careers, and I've always said I'm so grateful to them, because if I'd not had those early opportunities to progress, then who knows what could have happened. So yeah, no, I think we've all pushed each other on as well, and I think just to have a good group of golfers at a similar age is so massive in developing everybody's game, and to be able to have friendships outside of that as well. And yeah, just when you're growing up as well, when you're good at a sport or you're good at something, it's difficult because you get sort of isolated from the rest of your friends, and school isn't easy, and you're missing a lot of stuff. And to always be able to fall back on those friendships you make at golf and for the group that we have up north, I think has been really key for it.
And there's no pressure on you for 23, Jess. You've just got to win the Europeans for a third year in a row. So, it's nice and simple.
I know. Yeah, it's big boots to fill.
On an individual level, if we move aside from the England thing for a little bit, you mentioned earlier you've still got a US Women's Open to look forward to. Pebble Beach, is it?
It is Pebble Beach, yeah.
Gee whiz, you must be looking forward to that. But before that, you've got the small matter of playing at Augusta National in the Augusta National Women's Amateur. I
do, yeah.
These are bucket list courses that you're just ticking off one after one.
It really is. I'm very lucky with the way that it turned out with it being Pebble Beach this year. But yeah, honestly, Augusta and Pebble, like, dream places to play. And to be in the position I'm in as an amateur as well, I think is lovely, because I really wouldn't want to be going into a US Open for the first time as a professional. And I played in the Canadian Open as well, and I played with a girl who won the US Amateur at a similar age, and she just sort of said having that experience for the year going into her professional life was so much easier because she's already figured out how it all works. And honestly, to be able to play these places without, having to play for money and having to deal with all of that, just to go and play and love it. I'm so looking forward to it. And yeah, as you say, it's bucket list places to be, and I'm just going to soak it all in.
So Pebble or Augusta, what would be your favourite?
I'm going to have to say Pebble, because I feel like there's a bit of wind in there, a bit more suited to my low ball flight, putting.
Are you trying to tell me that Pebble Beach is like Gosforth Park Ladies? Is that what you're saying? It's the same kind of setup?
Maybe it is. I don't know about that, but both of them, honestly. I'll choose both.
Augusta has that magical ring to it, though, doesn't it? I know
it does.
You'll be on the phone to Emily Toy again to try and pick her brains, and Kaylee McGinty and Annabelle Fuller have played there in the past as well to represent England. That is just like a little piece of golfing paradise, isn't it?
It really is. And I'm so lucky, I mean, all of us are, to be in that position that we're able to play Augusta. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult, I'm sure. I've never been there, so from what I've seen on TV, it looks pretty tough, but that's all part of the challenge. So it'll be great to have some of my peers there as well, and be able to meet up with some girls I played with, and just sort of feel the college vibes a little bit more, and just sort of enjoy it all and take it all in.
And please tell me you haven't sacked your caddy. Is Dad Steve going to be on the bag for Pebble Beach and Augusta?
We're not sure yet. So honestly, it was so great to have him on the bag with me for those first two. But I think looking forward, going to try and see how a local caddy works, and see if that'll get me a little bit more inside knowledge. My dad is amazing at keeping me sane, but I need someone to help me read the greens a little bit,
I'm sure you'll do just fine, Jess. Listen, it's been an amazing 2022. Thank you for breaking into your schedule to talk to us here for the England Golf podcast. Now, I don't know if you heard episode 23 of the podcast, but we played out with an 87-year-old lady called Rosemary Reed, who played the piano. Now, I know you're a piano player. Are you going to do the same for us here? Have you got a grand piano lurking in the back of the student accommodation?
I do not have one lying around. I do not, and I haven't played in years, I have to say.
Okay.
Golf's taken over my life a little bit, but at some point I'll get back into it.
Okay, maybe the next time.
Yeah.
Jess, listen, lovely talking to you. Go back out and enjoy that Floridian sunshine, and we'll see you back here in 23 representing England with distinction.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, no piano this time. We'll need to see if we can get some more musical accompaniment for 2023. Anyway, an excellent year for Jess, and more to come in the months ahead, I'm sure. Remember, the best place to follow the progress of Jess and the rest of the England women's squad is the England Golf website. Just head to englandgolf.org for news, features and much, much more. Now, golf can be great fun playing with your mates. Some folk like rocking up for the roll-up and playing with someone new every week, and plenty of people also love the peace and quiet of a few holes on their own. But for Andy and Riley Banks, it's the combination of father and son that's the winning one. I know it myself. Not only was it great fun teaching my own kids when they were younger, and obviously before they started to beat me and then I called a halt to it, but it was also a sneaky excuse to play more golf yourself. Now in 2017, Andy and Riley started their own Instagram page to chart their progress and now have over 30,000 followers. And I'm glad to say that they both join me now. Andy, Riley, welcome to the England Golf Podcast. Now Andy, if I can start with you, what was behind the idea of the Instagram page and who really inspired you to get it going?
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one really. So being in the military, I didn't really do much social media, and I used to play rugby, sort of finished playing rugby and took up golf, and started going down the range, and Riley was joining me and just hitting balls and having a bit of fun, and we started going out onto the golf course. He started showing a bit of an aptitude for playing the game, and I kind of just set up this Instagram page just to document how his swing was going and kind of how he was improving with the game.
And now you're taking over the world, Riley. 30,000 followers. You're becoming an influencer, are you not?
Yeah.
So it's a strange one. It definitely gives us some great opportunities to do some really cool things together. And when we set the page up initially, I had no idea the power of Instagram or social media, and I hate the term content creating or influencing because I don't class us as that, but you know, I do note that we have a good following, and it's important to try and set the right message and set a good example of a healthy parent-child relationship in the sporting world. So it's great. It's certainly turned into something that I love, and it's kind of a second job now. And yeah, we just want to keep trying to do the same, really.
Riley, am I right in thinking that you were four or five when you first started playing? Is that right?
I was 4 when I started going to the range, and then when I got to 6 or 7, that's where I started taking it just a little bit more seriously. I think I had my first competition when I was 7.
Our old club was really good, so when Riley used to come down, they'd just let Riley play for free. So we would go out, and if one of the buggies were free, they'd just say, "Oh, go and take a buggy," and I would hit my drive, and wherever my ball landed, Riley would sort of tee it up and play the hole from there, and the shorter course type thing. So we were lucky with the course we were at, and it was good.
I mean, we're in the middle of a World Cup just now, Riley. Everyone's getting excited about the football, and I guess most young lads your age and girls as well are into football or cricket or rugby or tennis. But golf is the thing that's got you hooked. What is it about the game, Riley, that you enjoy so much and that you would perhaps say to others, if they haven't tried it, to give it a bash?
It's just, playing with my dads and mostly enjoying it, go and play out, and if you hit a good shot, it's you sort of want to come back and do it again, sort of. So it's just the addictive nature of just wanting to come and do it again,
It is addictive, isn't it, Andy? And it's also frustrating. I mean, you mentioned you work in the RAF, which can be a stressful job, stressful occupation. Do you find you enjoy the golf course as a bit of an escape, or does it drive you nuts like the rest of us?
It's an interesting one, this. So when I played when I was on the fringe, so I'd got down to 2, which was I was kind of on the outskirts of the RAF team, and golf was really stressful. So when Riley was younger and wasn't playing as much, it used to beat me up big time. And the mental side of the game, I'm really interested in that area, and it's kind of what we do with the role in the Air Force as well. But as Riley sort of got into the game a little bit more, my golf takes a back seat. So I don't play any team golf really. I just play for fun. But actually my handicaps kept going down because every time I step on the golf course, I'm not beating myself up over a good shot. And I sort of reflect on the last 6 months. I've shot my lowest score about 2 months ago, and I'm in a much better mindset, and I'm trying to teach Riley like how having that mindset can sort of have a positive effect onto his game as well. Because you see it a lot with junior golf. They know what they can do, but as you know, with your background, doing it on a weekly basis is just impossible. So, but kids beat themselves up a little bit more, probably even more so than parents, I'd say. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my golf, and getting up to Woodall, which I know you're familiar with, and going to play some nice courses like that, and yeah, that's what it's all about for me.
We'll explore your adventures at Woodall later on, Andy, but for now I'm interested just in this father and son connection. I mean, I still enjoy playing with my own dad, and he's in his 70s now, and a little 9-hole course, and we go and have a knock, but it's not so much about the golf, it's just about having a chat with your dad, isn't it? And I guess Riley enjoys that kind of special time out in the golf course with you. What is it for you as a dad that kind of makes this whole adventure as good as it is for you two?
I just feel so lucky that we get to, in the summer we're probably on the course 3, maybe at a range as well, maybe 3-4 times a week, and I'm lucky that Riley still wants to do it, and Riley's got some good mates, and their dads play, so we challenge people through Instagram, so all that type of stuff. It's just no distractions. It's not phones take over the world. My daughter Riley as well. I'm more than happy with him. Having time on the Xbox and having that like time away from schooling and everything. But those things do take over, absolutely. And when you're on the golf course, it is just sort of us together going out having a chat. I know we do the Instagram so that the phone comes out and we're filming it, but we get to so many good moments that I've captured now, and when I look back through the whole journey, I've got a whole diary of everything that other parents will have experienced with their children as well, the highs, the lows. I just feel really lucky that I get to do that with Riley.
Yeah. Now, here at England Golf, in the last couple of years, we've developed the membership Give It a Shot campaign, and I think the special thing about golf, I'm sure you'll agree, is the fact that different generations can play with each other, and you can play competitively as well. I mean, Riley could play with somebody who's in their 80s, and you could play against, Riley, or play with your daughter or whatever, and it can be an even game because of the handicap system. In terms of promoting family memberships, just from your own experience, I know you're a member of a golf club. Is it something that you would like to see develop more? Because sometimes golf clubs, that kind of family dynamic isn't quite as pronounced as it could be, and maybe should be, if people really got to grips with the game.
Yeah, so we speak to a lot of people that see what certainly Rag Barn do for the junior section. Like you said, they're like Junior Week, for instance, they have a whole series of events throughout the week, which is including playing the women, playing the seniors, getting the kids mixing with all the generations and the different the males and females within the club. So I'm sometimes blinded to what clubs don't do, but speaking to other parents where they don't have those opportunities, it's where the club is sort of moving through. You've got to have the junior membership, because otherwise there's nothing coming through taking over when people are moving on. So family membership, similar to like what me and Riley get to experience, and pushing that is only going to help the club grow and keep the game moving forwards.
Now, Riley, we touched on your visit to Woodall Spa a few weeks ago. Is it 9 or 10, your handicap index just now? What is it?
It's around 7.
Oh, so I'm doing you a disservice here. Since the last time I checked, you've obviously come down. Well done. Now, that's a very good handicap index to take to Woodall Spa, but it is rated the toughest course in England, and it's rated that way for a reason, because I think there's 140 odd bunkers and plenty heather. But you went there to see the England squad at a training weekend. What did you take from that Riley? What, as a kind of youngster who's making his way in the game, did you really feel inspired by watching these other very talented teenagers?
It was a good experience. We went to go and see like all the the practice facilities, and it's just good to see like what other kids like what I could do in the future. It was just a really good experience.
Now, it was a 3-club win that you played the Hodgkin course on, Riley. So tell us about that, because sometimes people think, oh, it can be quite benign, it can be quite straightforward. If you know what you're going, the fairways can be quite generous, but in a 3-club win, especially the back nine, that ain't the case, is it?
I think Riley wants to tell you about the first 10 holes, and then after that.
Well, I was going to ask him. I'll jump straight to the 5th hole, Riley. Tell me about the 5th hole, the par 3.
Oh yeah, that was a hole. So it was a par 3 into wind, and it was a 7-iron, but I didn't think I'd get there. So I hit it really well. I thought it'd be in the bunker, and it landed just short of the green and ended up about a foot away. And we walked up, and it must have like lipped out or something.
It must have been close from where his pitch mark was, and the contour of the green. We did a video of that, and it's done quite well on the page. But it's things like that, by doing the Instagram, that I'll be able to look at that and keep telling him, do you remember when you nearly got that hole in one at Woodall? But yeah, got the birdie and walked on it. It's good all to get it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you beaten your dad yet, Riley? Have you got to that point where you've beaten him in 18 holes?
I've been close.
Not 80. He's done me gross over 9 holes.
But it's close, but soon I'll be able to beat him 18.
I'm worried next season. He's got a bit more distance, and he's always had a good sort of short game, and he's putting is far better than mine. So, I'd be a plus handicap golfer if I had his short game and putting. You just wish you had a little bit more distance, I guess. But next year will be fun, because he's getting bigger and the ball's going a bit further now. So there's less 3-woods into par 4s and hitting more greens in regulation. So we'll see next year. I'm going to put the practice in through the winter, that's for sure.
Given that this started out just as you documenting, the fun that you were having on the course, Andy, and it's obviously mushroomed in the last 2 or 3 years and got to the point where I say you've got over 30,000 followers on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So what's next? Is it just more of the same? You just want to keep cataloguing your journey as father and son on the golf course?
I think so. I keep going down I've still got another 3 years in the Air Force, and I can sort of I say retire, but I can take my pension and potentially look at doing another career. Whether the page opens any doors to work in the industry, I would love to work in whether it's golf or some other sporting context. I'm a physical training instructor in the Air Force, and we touch on human performance, and I quite like the mindset side of things and doing a bit of work around that as well. So we'll see about that. But with regards to the page, it's hopefully more of the same. Riley's eyeing up the Reed Trophy next year. He's got 2 years, which he's eligible to compete in that. Obviously, all the junior competitions. We still haven't played in Scotland yet, so we've got potentially Riley's first open course going down to Prince's early next year. So there's plenty of stuff that we've still got to do and do together. So yeah, we'll just keep documenting it, I think, and I don't think we'll grow particularly much anymore. I think we've got where we will probably plateau in terms of an audience, but it's great that people still follow along, and I think Riley's got quite a lot of support out there. I'm biased, but he's a good lad, and people see that and end up rooting for him, which is cool as well.
Yeah. And the thing here at England Golf is we just want more people to enjoy the game and to experience the game and to learn about the game and to fall in love with the game. So things that you're doing just helps that.
I think with junior golf, there's a line where when you get to a certain level and it can become quite serious quite early. I've seen that, and I'm particularly conscious that isn't the case. But he's 12 years old, turns 13 in April next year, so there's a long time. So the only thing you can do with a youngster is make them fall out of love with the game. So, you know, the bit of competition I think is important. You enjoy it as well, competition element, but I think the experiences and just going out and having a bit of fun is equally important at this stage. And then that sets the platform and the foundations for everything that you know, whatever Riley wants to do in the future. And if he decides he wants to play football next, then so be it. You know, as parents, we just try and support them with what they want to do, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Riley, what's your ambition in the game? Great to hear that you're going to be trying to play in the Reed Trophy, one of England golf's most prestigious junior events next year. So we look forward to seeing you at that. But what's your ambition? Do you have ambitions in the game? Do you want to be a pro? Do you want to make it right to the very top?
Yeah, I definitely 100% want to do something in the golf industry. Definitely, I'd love to be a golf professional, play on tour. You know, that's one of my dreams. I'd also like to be a golf coach, maybe. Like work in maybe the social media industry with golf and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, if you become a golf coach, Riley, I'll sign up for a lesson, because having watched a few of your videos, you've definitely got a good swing, a better swing than I have. So I'll sign up for the first lesson you give. That would be great. Listen, guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for sharing the info about what you do, and it's all come, I know, as a bit of a surprise, Andy. All this fame, maybe not the fortune, but the fame has come your way with the Instagram channel, and I wish you both best of luck for what you do in the future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
No problem. Okay, listen, you can follow Andy and Riley on Instagram, and also head to their own website, which is fathersongolf.co.uk, to keep on track with their adventures in the months ahead. Time now for an England Golf News Roundup, and let's start with details on the England Golf Awards for 2023. The awards are back in an in-person format at the Hilton Manchester Deansgate on Thursday the 2nd of March. Now, 10 of the awards categories are open to public nomination, ranging from Club and County of the Year to Women and Girls Trailblazer and Volunteer of the Year. If you know an unsung hero or an organisation that deserves credit for the work they do to support the game we all love, then why not put them forward for an award? It's free and simple. Just head to the website, that's englandgolfawards.org, for more details and to nominate. Nominations close on December 31, with shortlists for each category announced early in the new year. Details on how you can attend the gala night will also be revealed soon. Follow us on our social channels and check into the website for all the latest news. Now get nominating. England's top juniors were once again to the fore at this year's Justin Rose Telegraph Junior Masters, held at Quinta do Lago in Portugal. Dylan Shaw-Radford and Sophia Fulbrook were the big winners this year, completing memorable triumphs in the boys and girls categories respectively. For Yorkshire's Shaw-Radford, it was another win to add to his bumper collection for 22, which also included the Caris Trophy. Fulbrook, the English girls champion, fully deserved her triumph in Portugal after leading from the front. Well done to all the competitors, and much respect to Justin Rose for his continued support for and commitment to junior golf. No such luck, I'm afraid, for the 3 English players involved in the European team at the 2022 Concession Cup in Valderrama. Despite their best efforts, Trevor Foster, Stephen Jensen and Rupert Kellock lost out for Team Europe against their American rivals. Europe were leading going into the final day of the event, which featured mid-amateur and senior men golfers, but it was the Yanks that edged it with a Medina-style comeback, overturning an 8.5-3.5 deficit to win by 13 points to 11. Remember, follow England Golf on social media and check out our website at englandgolf.org to discover news on the amateur game, as well as our campaigns, initiatives and support for golfers, clubs and counties across England. Now, our final guest on this month's podcast is Jack Lee. Jack, much like Jess before him, has had a stellar campaign in 22. He won the McEvoy Trophy, contended at the Caris Trophy, where he also notched a fantastic hole-in-one, and ended the year being selected for the England boys squad. With plenty to aim for in 2023, I spent some time with Jack recently to discuss his progress to this point and his hopes for the future. Jack, thanks for joining me. Welcome to the England boys squad. A big thrill for you to get the call up.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it was a nice way to finish the season off.
Did it come as a surprise? Was it something you were hoping for?
Yeah, I was hoping for it throughout the year. Obviously, I started to put together some nice results and sort of just finished it off nicely. It wasn't. I didn't expect it. It was just a nice surprise at the end of the year.
Was it a goal at the start of the season? Was it something you were aiming towards?
Yeah, definitely. I obviously worked through the regional squads, and obviously that is a stepping stone to get to the boys squad. And I worked hard throughout the winter, and then obviously it was then a goal to move up, and it happened. So yeah, it was nice.
You've done well in events this year. I remember speaking to you at the Caris many moons ago. Nice hole-in-one.
Yeah, that feels like ages ago now, doesn't it? But yeah, that was a nice hole-in-one that came at a nice time. Sort of kick-started a nice finish to the season, actually.
The big thing, I suppose, for you was winning the McEvoy Trophy. A huge amateur event with a lot of good winners in the past. Tell us about that and just what that's done for your confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice in the fact that I started off really well, and then my middle sort of 27 holes wasn't that great. But I stuck in there, and then fought it back at the end really nice and had a really nice last 27 holes. I think I was around 8 under for the last 27, which one got me back in the tournament and then finished it off for me on the last round, which was quite nice to win by 4, I think it was.
Do things like that, are they important? It seems daft, doesn't it? Is it important to win things? But quite often golfers don't win a lot of things. Their season is measured on top 5s or top 10s.
Yeah.
What appreciable difference does it make to actually get your hands on a trophy?
I feel like it's like a very mental thing. And if you're able to get it across the line at the end, like you just feel like you almost can do it more now. I feel like it's quite a bit of a mental block just to get past that first win. And once you get past that first win, I feel like it gives you a lot more confidence going into events, knowing that you're able to get the job done under pressure. And obviously that's golf for you. It's all pressure at the end, and whether you can handle it, and doing it once means you can do it more.
Has it always been golf for you? I mean, some kids are just born into it, pick up a club at the age of 2 or 3 and that's them. Was that you, or did you late to the game?
I started golf and football at the same time. I was about 6 or 7. I started football through friends in school, like to get out of school and spend time with my friends. And also, it was mini golf that started me with golf. None of my family play, but my dad plays when we go on holiday. But yeah, mini golf, and that went into going to the driving range, enjoying that. And then I had a block of 6 lessons, and I've not looked back since, you know. And it got to the point where competitions were on Sundays and football games were on Sundays, and I felt like I could do better in golf. So I stopped playing football about 13 to obviously stop the risk of injury and just concentrate on golf. And it's been flat out since then.
It's working so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I like to think it's working quite well at the moment, yeah.
In terms of what you want to do in the future, what's your ultimate aim in the game?
Obviously it's to play on the PGA Tour. I'm obviously heading to America next year. That's for 4 years, so I'm hoping to have a successful career out there and then see where it takes me, whether that's on the tours or working up, whatever way it goes. I'll just see how it goes. It obviously all depends on how well I do out there. But I'm going to give it everything and see what happens.
It seems to be the path that everybody follows now, to go to college in America. Was that something that you had your mind made up on quite early?
Yeah. I always saw it as like, when I was younger, oh my God, that looks so cool, like to go and spend 4 years out in the States. And then as I sort of got older, it's like, yeah, I really want to do that now, actually, to see so many successful players come out. You know, you look at the top 20 on tour now, most of them have come out of colleges in America, so it seems to be the way to go to get to the top.
Who would you say are your golfing idols? Is there anyone you model your game on, or is there just somebody in particular you like watching or studying for various reasons?
Obviously, I really like Tiger.
And everybody says Tiger, don't they?
And then my other two would be Rory and Justin Thomas. Yeah, I've always loved Rory. I've always backed Rory in the majors. I'd love to see him win the Grand Slam now. And Justin Thomas, he's obviously getting a bit older now, but he obviously went through college, and I really just like how good he is with his wedges. That's something that I want to get better myself, getting a good wedge play. Watching his tempo, it's just like, I sort of like to want to be able to make my wedges as good as his. But yeah, no, I really like them three, really.
It's a lot to live up to, just Tiger, Rory and Justin, but never mind, you might get there, Jack.
Yeah, hopefully.
A bit more activity at the England Golf Boys coaching sessions over the winter, and it'll
definitely
help you in that path. We're speaking to you here at Woodall Spa, the National Golf Centre. It's a fantastic facility, isn't it? I mean, if you can't improve when you're here, you don't have much chance.
Yeah, no, it is. It's fantastic, really. Just to be able to use a new chipping green today, just to get our chipping skills better. I mean, you couldn't ask for much more. I mean, it's in perfect condition, and obviously at the top with the pitching area, that's great. You can hit all the shots you want to hit, which is just ideal to get your game better.
Yeah. You're obviously now in a position to represent England and part of the boys' squad for 2023. Does that mean a lot to you? Because golf's an individual sport, so team things are put in the back burner for a lot of people. But does playing for England float your boat?
Yeah, 100%. We've got a really nice group of lads here. Good mates with all of them. And it's just it's like a great atmosphere between us all. And just to play for England is great, and to have the chance to go away and compete, it's just what you want, you start to build goals up through them, and that's one of them for me, I feel like everyone wants to do it, and we were a select few that have the chance of doing it, which is great.
2023 could be a big year. There's Europeans again, there's home internationals as always, but there's the potential to be taking part in the World Championships on the back of the boys last year, getting a silver in the Europeans.
Yeah.
So that's another huge stepping stone in your career potentially, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we all probably got that as a goal to want to play well enough to gain a selection to go out and play. I think it's in Japan, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And yeah, that'd be amazing. You've got some of the best players in the world that'd be out there, which can really test your skills.
How's your Japanese?
Not very good. I'd have to get on a bit of Google Translate whilst I'm out there.
Good stuff, Jack. Listen, great to have you on board in the boys' squad,
cheers.
And good luck for 23.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's it for this month's edition of the England Golf Podcast. As always, thanks for tuning in and showing your support for the amateur game. Hats off to my guests, Jess Baker, Andy and Riley Banks, and Jack Lee for giving up their time to contribute to the pod. We'll do it all again next month with a pre-Christmas edition of the England Golf Podcast. In the meantime, follow England Golf on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. Just search for England Golf to keep up to date on the club and amateur scene, and also enjoy whatever golf you can in the weeks ahead, whether that's getting out on the course or just heading to the range. I doff my cap once again to Jenna Lee Portis for making sense of my ramblings and pulling together and producing this podcast. Until the next time, thanks for your company. Bye for now.